Hey everyone, welcome back to Our Minds Lifestyle. We focus on finances, relationships, and more. Welcome back to Our Minds Lifestyle. I'm your host, Kedan Belay.
I'm Ethan Billy.
And how are you doing today?
I'm hungover, very much so. I have a headache. Today's been going well. But yeah, I have a headache, and I don't remember much of yesterday, and I don't like that.
I know. We actually were detoxing for a while, and we actually went out, had some drinks, smoked some hookah last night, and it makes me want to go back to my detoxing. Like today, even though Ethan's not detoxing.
You even had to call me out. They didn't know what was in my cup. Tell me if I'm wrong. When you have a hangover, they always say it's like good to either have like a beer or have one drink to like, in my case, I've had two. It helps with the headache.
To each his own.
So comment below if you take a drink to help your hangover.
But so based off of like where have you been mentally lately? So for example, I know we've been having conversations about like getting out of our head. And I feel like a lot of conversations that we're meeting people, a lot of people working 9 to 5s, but they're building something on the side. I feel like that's a lot of people. You can't just work one job now. You have to work multiple jobs, right? So, or, you have to have multiple streams of income. So even if you're not an entrepreneur, it's very vital for you to have other things coming in. You cannot just make money off of one thing, right? And we know that. So with us, lately, we've been in our head. How do you get out of your head?
Working out helps. I will say, because I've been slacking off for the gym just because we've been busy, which is no excuse. But I've been slacking off for the gym, and I noticed that like my mood automatically kind of like I feel weaker when I don't work out. Like I even feel mentally weaker. How I get out of my head, honestly, is like sometimes I might have a drink or might do something to just relax and not think about the responsibility that I have because I have so much responsibility. So sometimes you have to learn how to detach from it because it can drive you crazy. Um, but yeah, sometimes I'll rest if need be. I honestly haven't mastered that of how to get out of my own head. I haven't mastered that. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I have.
Well, no, like a lot of times, especially right now, the conversations that we're having is just literally just bringing people on to us having conversations. So we are still in our head, but because we're realizing that we're in our head, what are we going to do to get out of our head? Like, what are some things that we're going to do? Because there's some people, like we were talking to somebody earlier, and they're saying we have each other, right? So when you have each other, when you're building businesses or when whatever you're doing, when you have a companionship or a partner with you, sometimes it's easier because you bounce ideas off of them. You just get other energy. So like if I'm down and you're up, it kind of brings me up, or vice versa. But if you're just out there and you don't have anyone, you're by yourself. You could be in your head easily. So for those people that are by themselves, that don't have people, sometimes they listen to podcasts to try to figure out like, okay, you're
How to
speaking
get out
to
of
me
the
right now.
situation.
I'm in a situation where I'm in my head. And like, for example, for me, if I were to start with answering the question, we are building a lot of great businesses.
Things, yeah, we have a big vision.
We have a very big vision. And sometimes the vision can be so big that it's discouraging because you're like, where do I start? And you just have to start, you know? And on top of that, you have to just start, and then you also have to just believe. Literally, you have to really believe. So like, for example, the book that I wrote, right? Think, Action, Believe. Like I've been living, I wrote that book because I found myself at a place where I wanted to start something. So I was thinking all this stuff. So that's where the think portion comes from. If you want to do something, you first think about it, then you put the action behind it to do it. And the most important part is to believe that what you're doing for a reason.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that. I think if I was to give somebody else advice or even myself advice, um, do things that bring out your inner child. Like, we want to have fun in this life. So I'm not saying like, but to a degree, sometimes you have to go back to your inner child. That kind of is like, all of us have an inner child within us as we grow older. kind of build layers of protection and layers of maturity. Sometimes you have to. So like, if you like to, you know, like I'm like as I feel like as a masculine guy, I feel like my life requires me to be very still. And so, but if I'm still too long, my mind it starts taking a toll on me where like, it hurts my confidence or I might become lazy and stuff. So sometimes working out or hiking brings out my inner child. It brings out the happiness. Or even sometimes like with music, I use music a lot. Like I'll just go in my head with the music, or I'll listen to old music that I made when I was a child. Like, because it helps me go back to a childlike state. I feel like being a childlike state, I didn't really care, like, about like what people were thinking about me and stuff like that. Like when I'm talking about the childlike state, that was like the happy portion. Because my childhood was like, our childhood wasn't the best. So like, my childhood was, it was a lot of stress and trauma within it. But even just going back to the moments of happiness in my childhood helps me get through me being in my own head. Because sometimes I've realized me being in my own head stops me from being great.
It does.
Like it stops me from being great. Like, and that's what I had to realize is that you're stopping yourself from being great just by overthinking. Like everything, and even sometimes like when you're building, sometimes you gotta not be so picky. Sometimes you gotta just build it and see what comes out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because you can't wait to be great. You know what I mean? Like you just have to build it and just be like, all right, well, I I know the vision, but understand that your life and your vision is not gonna be exactly the way it was up here. It's gonna be close, but as long as you just get close, like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, shooting at a target. Like, you don't got to hit bullseye every single time, but as long as you get right in that similar area, at least at least you hit the target. The target is tiny compared to the grand scheme of things. So I'm learning how to just, not be too picky, like, especially even with some of the projects that we did. It was very discouraging, like, and I had to get through that. That was a moment, I guess, where you like, you seen me in my head about it, where I'm just like, I wanted it to work, I wanted it to work, I wanted it to work, and I put mine. And especially this was like, we shoot a lot of our own stuff, we do our own editing, things like that. This is like I'm starting to get to the point to where I'm ready to start delegating my process. Like I'm ready to be like, all right, well, you're better at video editing and photography than I am, so why am I touching the camera? All right, what's your rate? I'll hire you.
Because I have a surprise for you that I already started working on with our business, because like there's certain things that we do have to just pay for, and we're really like this video, like we actually, even the videos that you're seeing, all the videos that you're watching are videos that we have produced. Some we did ourselves, some that we may have had a friend come in and like, hold the camera. And then we also have, yes, all the links will be in the description for the playlist, so you guys can check those out. And then there's a few other projects that we're working on, another video that me and you shot ourselves, and another video that we actually are going to go in detail because it's a learning curve. And the other video, we're still going to release it, but there's some people out there where they're like, it's not perfect, it's not what it wants to be, or what it needs to be, or what I envision it to be. But sometimes it's never going to be that.
Exactly.
And that's okay, because we're going to do another interview where we're going to actually talk about the video that's coming out, that we actually hired somebody and they just didn't execute like we thought they were going to. And they knew the vision, they knew the plan, but they just couldn't do it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Not to knock them. They honestly bit more off than they could chew. And I think that's just where that went wrong.
Yeah, I think so. And then also it's this overdrive. It's this negative stereotype I feel like it's not a negative stereotype, but it's kind of like it's a gift and a curse. Cause even me, like I've shot some weddings and stuff. It was like I didn't brought on projects that I didn't even have gear for. I was just like, all right, well, this is what you want. I'm gonna research how to do that and research the gear that I'm gonna need to get the best result. And then I make sure that I'm equipped by the time that it's time to execute. It's okay to do that sometime. But sometimes you can't do that. Like, you got to be realistic with that. Like, can I really do this in this amount of time? Do I have the gear for it? And I think with the experience of this video, I'll save that for another, because that's going to be more like, but, I feel like you can't overshoot people's expectations either when they're your client. You also can't overshoot expectations with yourself sometimes. And I think the problem, especially when you get in your own head, is that you don't have somebody on the outside telling you, like, look, like, I'm not trying to crap on your dream. I want you to be great. but be realistic on the process to get there. And I think that's what I'm learning. That's why I've stopped. Like sometimes, because I've even heard you say this, I've had to tell you like you be like, man, like I just want to figure this thing out. And I'm like, well, bro, like your life isn't bad. Like we both make over 100 grand a year. That ain't the most money in the world, but we also, you got to look at the whole world. We're still within like the top 30% of the world, the entire world. Like we live in a first world country. There's people in other countries that make make $1,000 a year. Like there's people that really compared to the amount of money we have. So we have to realize how blessed we are with what we have, and then build more up
And
from.
see, that's what I
Your
would
brother
say.
is crazy, bro.
I would say I am really shout out to my brother. I love him.
Shout out to Robert.
I love all my siblings. Shout out to my sister. She was in the video
Shout out to
too.
David. He got the black brand.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a good time.
That was. We had a really fun time. And it was all family that did that.
That was great.
So.
But yeah, so what I was saying is that's one thing that actually does keep me going, to get out of my head, to realize I don't think one of the way I get out of my head is like to watch these videos. Like when I look at what it took at that time and where we were at, how we were trying to figure out how we're going to pay for, the clothes that we want to wear, or, how we're going to get the location together, the weather, when there's just so many things that goes into the videos. This is the last one too. When it goes into
focus on me. I got this.
All the videos that we go.
Look at me, baby.
What? I like the video.
I know, yeah. Well, we talking to the people right now.
That's
yeah.
True. See, I'm getting distracted.
Yeah, if they want to watch it, the playlist is gonna legit be.
If I want to watch it, you mean? But for me, sometimes it's looking back at what I created. So the book I was telling you about earlier, even with that, I go back and I read that book multiple times. Yeah. Like whenever I'm in my head, I really go back and read my book, because I wrote that book because that book helps me get out of my head, and I wrote it. And
to be honest with you, I think what's so beautiful about the book is that, like, one, because you came up with it. You know what I mean? Anything you put your hands on is great.
Thank you, baby. I appreciate that.
I'm great. You baby great. But honestly, no. I like the book because you can take that book and apply it to any area of your life.
Yes.
Like every area of your life, the book literally tells you how to get to that thing. And it starts from the basics. Like it starts from the basics. So like you have a person that's overweight that really wants to be in shape, or you have a person that's underweight. Like me, I'm underweight, which is a real thing. Like people have the.
Well, you're not no more.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I was. And I hate the fact that it's like, it's not okay to call somebody fat, but it's okay to call somebody skinny. Like, people will say out their mouth so much, like, bro, you're a twig, like, you're skinny. I've had people say that. But anyways, the book, I like it because it helps you it helps you at the most basic level. Like, yo, I know I want to achieve this thing. I don't even know where to start. The start is the mindset. And it tells you how to work over the objections that you have with yourself. It tells you the beginning phases of how to start with yourself, how to even just how to spark. It has it's like one of those books. It's like it helps spark that interest, and it's like a seed. It's like once that spark of life, you know what I'm saying? Once it starts that, it's like boom, and it's like you can use that to shift your mentality from because to be honest with you, the difference between wealthy people or successful people in any area is that their mindset. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's why you have people all the time that come in this country with literally nothing. That right there alone is what makes me want to be wealthy. Because if people can come in here that don't even know English, that come from nothing, that comes from countries that in their poverty stricken, but they come to this country and they make the most out of it, is why I know that I need to get wealthy. Because if you can do it, I can do it. And the only reason you did it is because your mindset was on that level.
Mindset, and then they had the desire. And then when you have that desire, to be honest, you can accomplish anything. And I even talk about that in the book. Like, if you desire something, you will find a way for it to happen, because you literally eat, breathe, and smell and sleep. Like, it's just, you can't go without it because you thoroughly desire it. So if there's something that I desired, like before when I wanted braces, I desired to have braces. I was like, okay, braces are kind of expensive right now. I wasn't in a time where I could afford it, but I figured it out because I really wanted it. You know what I mean? My first car, I manifested my first car because I was like,
Same.
My uncle and everybody would like literally probably tell you this story. So before I had my first car, I went out and bought a stereo cover.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I feel you.
I bought a steering wheel cover. I bought seat covers. I think that was it. And I didn't even have a car.
Yeah.
And I think I bought floor mats because I was obsessed with Scooby-Doo at that time. Scooby-Doo is my favorite childhood character. So because I was so obsessed with it, I literally went out and bought Scooby-Doo floor mats, a Scooby-Doo steering wheel, a Scooby-Doo. I think I just had green seat covers, but no car. But I had this feeling where it's like, no, I desire to have a car. I'm going to start with what I can. So I started with some accessories because I'm going to look at the accessories like, okay, I have these accessories. I need a car now, you know? So I started with the accessories. And then next thing, I probably like within like less than a month, I was like, no, I got a car, you know? So whatever you want in life, you have to desire it.
Yeah, honestly, I will never forget this man, and honestly, kind of makes me like kind of like emotional thinking about him. Like it makes me almost like like I'm kind of holding back tears. But like my principal, man, he's the most like he said this thing I never forget, and I'm gonna tell you why. Kind of the backstory on it. So, obviously, public school systems are crap, right? So they had this thing where they wanted to build premium schools, so they built these what is called STEM schools. I feel like it was to help the black community start to get like the children to get interested into like engineering and math. So there was a school called MC Square, and then there was a school. Our school was called Design Lab Early College High School or something like that. But Design Lab. That was the name of my high school growing up, and they bought us all new laptops, all this stuff. Like, and he was my principal, Mr. Spotsville. I'll never forget this man, because I'm gonna tell you why. Because honestly, him as a man, I think he had it. Like even just the teachers, he did really good with. I don't know if he picks the teachers. I don't know how that works with the school systems, but like all of the teachers were phenomenal. Like now that I look at it now, like they were very like they really cared about the children. The children were so hurt by their homes that they didn't reciprocate that love right. So like him as like with me growing up without a father, like some of the advice he would give me would always be very fatherly. And I remember one time like I really went through some stuff as a kid. And I remember one time I got in trouble and he was just like talking to me and I was just so angry like. And that was me taking my anger from home. Like I was a child that was in a very rough childhood growing up, and I was dealing with a lot of mental and physical abuse growing up. And but like going to school, I would bring this anger to school, and I remember him trying. I think I got in trouble over something small, but he could just tell I wasn't right, and he was trying to like talk to me a certain way. I don't know if it was me that said it or somebody else, but they was like cussing him like, "You're not my father. Like, why you like you're not my father?" Like just dogging him, but. Growing up now, it kind of like, man, like we were so, it was crazy because he ended up having to move, I think it was to Florida for his son. His son had a disability or an illness that he would get the best treatment somewhere. So he ended up having to leave. And I remember the whole school was like heartbroken. Like we had a whole like pep rally. People was like writing songs. We would perform our songs and stuff. And like, they were really good artists in our school. Like, but my point is this: he used to have this saying, and I'm saying the backstory on like how I've grown up to really appreciate him. I'm actually friends with him on Facebook. I'm probably just gonna message him one day and just be like, yo, I just want to thank you, like just for that, the effort, yeah, like because we don't pay enough homage to like the people that have like really cared, and he's dealing with his own life stuff, But my point is this: he used to have this saying, and when I was a kid, I understood it, but people used to always make fun of me. High school, we make fun of this. We make fun of everything in school, like, but like I understood what yeah, exactly. Especially in our community, we laugh at everything, and it's so frustrating. It's like, but anyways, back to my point. He used to have this saying that stuck with me, and he was like, "We're building a plane and flying it at the same time." Like, so like that right there has always stuck with me. Because you're starting from nothing. You have a vision that you're launching it. You're launching that vision the moment you put in effort on it. But once you start, it's gonna start, and you've seen it. We've shot weddings and be like, yo, I need to run and grab a flash. I'm rushing to grab a flash right before I, get to the wedding type thing. Like never late, but just like, I'm building it as I go. Even with like the stocks, crypto and stuff. Like I'm building and learning as I go with the real estate. Our podcast, like The reason why we have this setup is because we're renovating our apartment for the studio. Like we're setting up a podcast. We're building a legit podcast studio. So we are building it and flying the plane at the same time. And I never forget that. I never forgot that, especially with me going into the entrepreneurial journey that I'm looking to go on.
You know what's crazy? You never told me the whole backstory, but you have told me the saying that you are relating to from him. And at first, I don't know, like when you first told me, like I was like, okay, cool, I get it. But then I was like, I didn't thoroughly get it until right now. Like now it's thoroughly clicking. Like you're saying you're flying the plane, building the plane and flying it at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's legit. Like when you put the podcast in perspective, that's legit what we're doing because we're learning it. We're still trying to get we're still getting the studio together for our podcast. But in the meantime, we're not letting it stop us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're gonna keep producing the podcast. We're gonna, if it's something we truly believe in, we're gonna keep pushing forth. And I think that's one thing where there's so many people we met that they're like, okay, well, I'm going to get started, or I need to know somebody to do it, or it's like all these excuses we always give ourselves. And I think I'm really glad that we're actually flying the plane as we're building it. You know what I mean? I think that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
I think you should reach out to him because, and I'm glad you did share that story because I feel like there's a lot of people who, if they don't have that person in their household or that friend that's there, if they're just home in their own thoughts, like take your time to think your own thoughts. And that's what the book talks about as well, because we are surrounded by social media. We're surrounded by our work, our, maybe people in our household, like maybe our spouse, where we have other people's opinions, but sometimes we have to come back in here. Like sometimes I'll come up here just to just sit and be quiet and just kind of think, what is K Don thinking right now, And sometimes it's very important to do that because me and you, we spend a lot of time together and I love our relationship, but there's times where it's like I need to realize, what am I thinking? Is this something that I got from Ethan? Because it's easy to rub off on each other, So
It is easy to rub off on each other.
It's really easy. And sometimes we rub off on each other a lot, right? So
sometimes we don't rub off on each other at all.
Right? But we need to, huh?
So we rubbing each other down. Rubbing each other off. Rubbing off on each other.
Okay. Where your mind going?
Right.
And that actually, I'm glad that we were talking about that too, because another thing that I've been thinking about in our relationship, how do you feel? Because we met at 19.
Yeah.
19 is a young age to me. So we met at 19. We've been together for a while now. And how do you leave room for growth in your relationship?
I understand that we're going to change. And also, I love you, but I'm not afraid of, breaking up. I know it'll hurt to break up, but, I'm not afraid of it. I feel like, I think, as much as I want us to last forever, I do understand that maybe a day we might grow apart. But with that being said, I think because of that, it allows me to, allow you room to grow and have the comfortability to grow on my own. And then love can sometimes be, possessive. I try not to make it possessive. I actually learned that from London Lauren. Laura London. Did I say her name right?
Not the first time. You said London Lauren.
Yeah, Laura London.
Laura London.
When she was talking about Nipsey. And it sucks, man, because they keep taking away the artists that I vibe with. I've never listened to Nipsey, and then until a month before he died, he had one song that I was like, oh, Nipsey dope. I never heard of Nipsey, bro. And then I started playing his music, and boom, I'm like, dang, because then me, once I get into an artist, I start researching what they about, what comes out of their mouth when they not making music. Because if I can't vibe with your personality, bro, or your mission, I don't even want to listen to your music. So he was really about building. Even in his lyrics, he put a lot of knowledge in his lyrics or whatever. Me, I never grew up street politicking and stuff. That really wasn't my thing. But I grew up in the hood though. So I understood being solid. I just understood being solid. You know what I'm saying? So I really vibed with his music. And then on top of that, I vibe with his mission, when he was the way he would talk about business and stuff and talk about getting assets, and I liked it because he put it in a way to where people could luckily I was already on that wavelength. So when I found
someone that's not.
Yeah, exactly. So for somebody that's not and him having the lingo and the way the dialect that he has, So I started to really vibe with him, man. They took him out. It's the same with Dolph. It took one song for me to be like, oh, Dolph is dope. Like,
Right.
and then like, no, it didn't even the mainstream. Like, yo, like, man, then they took him out, bro. And then it's just like I'm tired of that for real. Like, man, I understand the world is not a pretty place. I do get that. I ain't trying to say the world is supposed to be all peaches and roses, but man, like, can we stop killing these rappers, man? Cause you know what I'm saying, because their life's important too. You know what I mean? Now I do. On another note, we got to stop rapping about killing each other. I do. I really, you know what I'm saying, like. I think that's probably why I had an album, I took it down. I didn't really like how it was
You
like.
talked about killing people?
No, I didn't talk about killing people.
You put that
But
in
I don't
the
want to
same-
have music that is even remotely close to that. That's why I was telling you, like, I'm
Exactly.
stepping out of the hip hop scene because I don't even want to be around people that's living that type of life for real. I love y'all. You know what I'm saying? I get, the streets is a cruel place, but man, I'm good on that because I know, like, I'm a licensed Bam Bam carrier. So I don't get me wrong. If it ever came down to it, I would never hesitate to protect the innocent or protect the ones that I love. But I will tell you this though, I do not look forward to the day that I have to lay somebody out. I do not look forward to that day because it's gonna leave a scar on me. Cause the first one always gonna leave a scar on you. I ain't trying to hurt nobody. You know what I'm saying? I will if I need to, but I ain't trying to hurt nobody. So like, man, just hearing these rappers, man, like you got some of their music get us through our day sometimes. Sometimes I listen to a Young Dolph or Hustle and Motivate when I feel like the world got my back in the corner. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know these men, but it still hurt because they look like me and they getting murdered. They getting gunned down. Like that hurts, bro. Like y'all hurting each other. That's why we so angry, believe it or not. So honestly, like, I don't know. Where I'm at now, again, it's like flying a plane and building at the same time. And that's what I keep telling myself. So I'm going to just keep building and building and building because I don't know who I'm going to motivate. By me hustling, I can motivate somebody else. Like, you see the play on words I did there? But like, you know what I'm saying? By me hustling, I can motivate somebody else. And like I've had people, it's been like 3 or 4 times where I've had people message me and be like, hey bro, like, bro, like I just want to tell you, like, you motivate me, man. Like, just by you uploading your stuff, like, you know what I'm saying, like, you got a beautiful wife, like, you around. He was like, you like, it was one guy. He told me, he was like, I think I showed you this message. He was like, man, you got a beautiful wife, man. You always around beautiful women, like, you take care of yourself, like, you know what I'm saying, like, bro, you really motivate me, man. Like I just want to tell you, I really appreciate you for that. He didn't ask me for nothing. Never talked to this guy a day in my life. I don't know where I met him for him to get my snap,
Right.
but you know what I'm saying? Like, it just felt good for me it made me feel like I had a little bit of a purpose at that moment. And like, I realized that, I don't know who we were talking to yesterday, but they was like, yeah, like, you don't know who watching you. I think it was a podcast that I watched or a conversation that I had. And it was like,
Even with the podcast, like there's a few people, and I just want to say thank you to everyone that does download the
yeah,
podcast. Definitely share it. If it
yeah, thank
resonates with
y'all.
you, you
I
can
do thank y'all,
comment
yeah.
on YouTube. You can send us messages on social media. Like if there's ever a topic that you really want to hear our perspective on, or if there's a topic that you even want to you even want to kind of have an interaction with us
Yeah,
as well.
if it's
We
something
are
you
getting ready
can't
to
fit,
start that
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, we'll start having guests once we'll
We're gonna start
start.
going live here
Yeah,
shortly.
we
So
will,
just
and
start letting you know.
and we'll also start having more guests on once the studio's actually designed. So right now we're designing a music studio and we're designing a podcast studio,
And we're gonna
and
be
then we're
starting the
also
tour for
renovating
that
our new
too. So
place.
just
Yeah, we're renovating our new place too. So like we don't even have furniture. We just moved here from Arizona. So like we're still in the city, and then we got some other things in the works. Like we're building a clothing brand. We're also preparing to build our real estate portfolio. We're doing a lot. We're at the beginning phase of a lot of stuff. So like everybody that has been rocking with us this far, I appreciate y'all. Like, man, you know what I'm saying?
And then the thing is, there's a lot of people, like you said, there are watching. Some people may not support us verbally or physically, or we may not even know that they're secretly watching or like secretly rooting for us or whatever the case may be. But yeah, so like I think that's another thing that helps you get out of your head when you like really know why you're doing it and who you're doing it for.
Yeah. Honestly, I just want to inspire people to be great. Because I know, I'm going to be honest, like my life, like I feel like I don't know, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I took my childhood harder than you did. I feel like my childhood, like, left like scars on me. Like I feel like yours left scars, but I feel like you healed from those scars better than I did.
I
Like
agree, and I feel
like
like because for me, what made it easy for me to do that is because I know that was something that I couldn't control.
yeah.
And because I can't control it, I'm not going to ponder on it. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I ponder on things that I know I can control. If I go out and I spend like $300 in the area or on food and things that I know that's kind of small. It's not really like a trauma, but I still suffer from that later. The point I'm making. So decisions I make,
Well,
I
we
suffer
definitely did
from.
that yesterday.
That's what I'm
I think
saying.
we
So
said like
I'll suffer.
250 last night. Let's
Yeah,
have some drinks. Yeah.
I'll suffer in those areas, and it's like that's still a trauma. It still could be a form of trauma because
Mm-hmm.
you're now you have to make up that money somewhere else. You know what I mean? Especially if it's
Mm-hmm.
something where I know I could have controlled it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you think about like the past, like just like some of the trauma we dealt with like our family members and our mothers, I feel like with me, I just chose not. I know there's two type of people. There's somebody that can let that affect them, and there's a person where like no, I know I can't control that, but I'm not gonna let it affect me. And I now like with me being older, and just seeing how crazy the world is, I just choose not to let it affect me.
Yeah.
So, and I know it might
I
seem
think the
simple like that,
yeah.
but honestly, you really have to choose to not let it affect you.
Yeah, I do feel you on that. I don't think it affects me, but I think that I've seen I've seen the worst in people. So I feel like with me seeing the worst in people, I'm able to see the worst in people, even if they don't show it.
Right.
So I'm not as quick to be impressed by somebody because like we're vibing at the moment. In the back of my head, I'm always like, watch out for this person. They might try to snake you. It's not like I don't do it in like a paranoid kind of way. But I just always, where I'm from, like, man, I'm used to, even with women, like, I'm used to being like, you think you going over a girl house to kick it, and y'all both chilling. It's never happened to me. Thank God, I'm grateful for that. But like, but it happens a lot. Like, where like y'all be chilling with some girls, and then y'all all get robbed together. But then she getting her stuff back. Like, she set you up, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, like and then growing up, I've just been in a situation of like where people that I loved and I idolized, I seen the worst in them, So that I think it's like it takes everything out of you. So I think like that's why I'm so aggressive of standing on my own. That's why like a lot of times my thought process might seem selfish, not towards us, because you are me. So like when I tell you like once you're like my girl or whatever, like um once you're my wife, so you don't have like you are me. So anything that I have, anything that I built is yours. I'm not selfish when it comes to you, but somebody that tries to jeopardize what we're building and what we have, I'll cut them down. Like cut them down, maybe just be cutting them off,
So,
or if like protecting us like physically,
yeah.
like if whatever necessary. So like, and I know you got a question, but like I don't know, I'm big on being like it's honestly it seems like I'm not easily manipulated. I see
So do
the
you feel like you're getting to the point now where you are choosing not to let your past like pretty much haunt you?
yeah, it's always gonna haunt me, but not in a way to where like it's gonna. I
It doesn't
choose.
have to always haunt you.
You're right. You're right about that. Honestly, it doesn't haunt me anymore. I take it
That's
back.
what I'm
It
gonna
doesn't
say.
haunt me
Yeah.
because like the people that I looked at as like what I idolized, I'm gonna tell you why it probably hurt so much, because I idolized them. They were the most awesome people in the world to me. They cut me down, so they turned into the biggest bullies. So I already idolized them. They were the biggest people in the world to me, but then they turned into the biggest bullies. But now that I'm older, I'm stronger, I'm smarter, I'm wiser. I don't idolize them, and they're not bullies to me. They couldn't bully. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I think that now, and also a lot of them I turned out better than. So, it shows that we're all imperfect, and we all, like, understand. I have the ability to understand everybody. So, but like, we're all imperfect, and our flaws are all different, but we all have flaws. So like, even with rich people, that's why I don't idolize rich people. I could be the celebrity today, and I'm not about to be all fam. If I vibe with what they got going on, I'm vocal about it. Like I ain't
But
about
at
to.
that point, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
but I
It
ain't.
doesn't matter your status or how much
Yeah,
money
I
you
ain't about
have.
to
At
treat
that
you no
point, we're
different.
all like,
Exactly.
there are some people, and then at the end of the day, if those are people that get you through your day, it's okay. But there are certain people that do that, and you're just not that person, and I'm not that person either. Like I thoroughly like. I'm not gonna look at you any different from what like. There's people who look at people who don't have certain things going for themselves as less. Like for example, on the podcast, I'm not really like I'm not looking to bring celebrities on the podcast unless it's something I thoroughly like.
We're
We
gonna cut that
vibe and
part
we
out.
thoroughly want to have like. No, I'm just saying like some people look for that. They're like, oh, you're going to interview celebrities, you're going to interview successful people, but there's also people that are successful in other areas that may not be financially
Right.
or may
Yeah.
not. You know
You
what I
might have a
mean?
mother that just like she's an amazing mother.
She's an amazing mother,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And she's
Like
very comfortable in her life,
yeah.
and there's a lot of things that she was able to overcome and certain. So what I'm getting at is that everyone's welcome. You know what I mean on the podcast. Like you don't have to have a certain status. You don't have to have a certain amount of views to be on my podcast. Like if I thoroughly just love your story and I love the lifestyle that you're creating for yourself, I want to bring you on. I want to hear more about it. That's more so what I'm getting at. Because like you said, there's two different types of people. So even with people that are in like polygamous relationships, like I am thoroughly curious about how they, and now I separate from the sex, I'm really like curious how they run their, I'm curious about the sex part
Yeah.
too.
That's why you. I
I
think
love
that's
talking
probably why
about,
you hit up that one lady that's in that polygamous relationship.
well, if I could get them on a podcast, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
That's why I'm putting
They gotta
myself,
hit you back though.
I'm putting
Like,
myself in
bro, hit my
environments.
girl back, bro. What you doing?
I'm putting myself in environments because like I want to meet different people, and because they're going to something like certain people, if they're public,
Yeah.
like you don't know who's in what. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So because I don't know and they're very public about what they got going on, there's some questions I have.
Yeah.
Like there's curiosity.
Like what makes it real? You
Yeah,
know what I'm
like
saying? And I feel like
I want
yeah.
to know the struggles that y'all deal with. I want
What's
to
my
know
guy's
like
name? I don't
the
have. I deleted
pros. I
Instagram
want
off
to
my
know the
phone.
con. Like I want to know just everything about it. Because even in our relationship, like we do date women together because we thoroughly just like dating women. Like I love having good conversation with people, and sometimes it used to be type person. I used to be the type person where I couldn't verbally say it because I'm also, what's the best way to put it? I can be jealous, So like
As we
I
all,
like to have
yeah. That's a
conversations, but
human
I might
thing.
not want you to have conversation. You know what I mean? And you might want to have conversations, but you don't want me to have conversations. Like that's
I don't mind
natural.
having conversations with women.
Yeah, with women, but I like having conversation with everybody. So if it's thoroughly a good conversation,
So, but
I
when you
want
say
to
conversation, what do you like? Do you mean
conversation,
actual conversation, or do you mean like
conversation.
conversations?
Stupid.
Anytime, yeah, I feel you.
You
Anytime
know,
you think about conversations, you be like conversations. Oh, y'all want to have some conversations?
over some
You got
wine,
me messed up.
over some wine and food.
Y'all trying to have conversations in the woods somewhere.
I don't want those kind of conversations. I'm okay. But yeah, so like I am thoroughly just curious about other people's lifestyle because with us being in a relationship and us being in a relationship for how long that we have been, there's just new things that you just want to learn, and just even like the way people run their household. Like I'm thoroughly fascinated about that
Yeah.
because like there's certain ways that we go, like we talk about all the time. We go off of strengths and weaknesses,
Right.
and I think our relationship is great. But who's to say our relationship can't be better? Like maybe
True.
there might be things out there that we could do and things that we aren't thinking of. But being around certain people, I like to see how they do things because if I want to implement something from this household, something from that household, it could be something simple as how they wash dishes or
Right. Yeah.
how
Yeah. I think the biggest part to it, and that's why like
how they communicate.
when you asked me, you was like, well, how can you, like when did you get to the point where you stopped letting it haunt you? Is when I realized what I wanted in life. And what I want in life doesn't allow me to be carrying traumas and being like in
My
my
quote,
head.
if you focus on the past, you can't participate in the present to succeed in the future. That is so real,
It's
bro.
bars.
That is so real because it's like legit.
Yeah,
If we spend all our time focusing on all the trauma, anything that things that we could and couldn't control, if we
yeah,
focus on that, we can't be present in what we got going on today.
for sure.
And if we can't be present here, how do we expect to
Plus, I gotta
succeed
have my emotions in
later?
check if I'm gonna deal with more than one woman.
You really do.
Cause you emotional, boo.
We both are. We
Yeah,
both have
we both
emotions.
are.
We both have emotions.
Yeah,
So, and even bringing someone else into a
it's
relationship,
gonna be even
it's a
more.
more emotions.
Yeah,
And we shouldn't have. If we bring someone else in our relationship, we don't drink. We do not drink because I can only imagine what that would look like.
I know. My
Because
brother was telling me about his relationship situation, and the night he
bringing
had.
alcohol into a situation, bro,
Yeah,
that sounds dangerous.
it might not be.
We need it. It sounds dangerous.
It might not be.
It might not be. Maybe bringing a third person might calm everything down.
I mean, yeah. I feel like you say it
Because
like
maybe the third person because like I have yet to really I am not really in conversation. I don't get in arguments with three people. If that makes sense.
yeah,
Like most of the time, the arguments is mostly with two people. It's like a two people argument. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like if you really think about it.
I have heard though that women gang up on guys a lot in like polygamous or polyamorous relationships.
I can
Like
see how that. I can see
like
how
they like
that.
when one of them mad at the guy, both of them like are mad at the guy. Like if he did like if they
But I
if
think it depends on the person.
yeah, it
'Cause
also
me
depends on what
personally,
happened.
yeah,
Like
like me personally, I
but
think even with me and you, I think I'm still pretty level headed. So like, if something's like, even if you're wrong, like I'll stand by you 100%, you know. But if you're wrong, I might not say you're wrong at that time. Like if other people, but like if I was in a relationship and y'all two was arguing, I would address each person like, nah, you was wrong. Like I'm not gonna be big on teaming up with her or teaming up with
yeah,
you.
that's weird,
You know what I
man.
mean? Like
Yeah,
I
that's
feel like if
weird.
I'm gonna be in an open relationship, um, I feel like I don't know what I was trying to say.
Open relationship, that's different.
Like open to bringing another person in
Oh,
a
like a
relationship.
okay, like a polygamous or a polyamorous
Yeah.
relationship.
If I was to be in that type of relationship, I feel like I would. I don't know. Like I just feel like you have to have the communication. Just has to be there. You
For
know.
sure, that's any relationship though. I definitely feel that because, like, at the end of the day, and I think communication has to be even bigger when you bring in more people. My biggest thing is just like one, making sure I'm at my best potential. Because I understand that like where I'm at in life determines where I sit in the dating market.
Right.
So if I'm average at best, shout out to my guy Kevin Samuel, may he rest in peace. If I'm average at best, I know that I'm only going to be able to attract average at best, and I like above average. So my goal is to make sure that I'm above average physically, financially, and mentally,
Emotionally,
emotionally.
mentally,
Yeah,
yeah.
like I want to be very emotionally intelligent.
And
I
that
understand. I understand what I present myself as is what I'm going to get back from women, and also because even though and I'm this is just me speculating. Even though I hate the term higher value guy because it's such a negative stereotype around it, but I feel like women are more inclined to be comfortable with another woman being around her man if he has a little bit higher value, and that doesn't always mean financial. Because the reason why we're doing it as well is to build. We're not doing it strictly for sex, like because man, I wish I had my Instagram on me. I forgot his name, but um, he has 3 wives.
sounds like a lot.
He has 3 wives.
I'm
It was
like, bro, come on our
the one that's having a
podcast. How do
part.
you deal with three wives?
Yeah, it's but from
I
looking
can't
at
even
him,
deal with two female
but from
friends.
watching him and like how they like their dynamic and how they like just watching him, you could tell he's very level headed. He's very
You
calm and
have to
level
be.
headed.
Everybody
Like
has to be, even
yeah,
the women. Like they have to be
true
really
for
level
sure,
headed.
but especially the guy, especially
Because
the guy.
I feel like my female friends, I love all my female friends. But could I be in a relationship with one of them? No. No. And
Why? Cause y'all
why?
crazy.
Yeah, well maybe it's those particular ones, like no, they're it's crazy when you start the building process, that's when things get crazy. I don't know why it's set up like that, but that's when things get crazy. Me and you could have a great friendship, but because we decided to be partners and we share sex and we share bills and everything together, our relationship gets kind of crazy because we share all this, all those qualities. Versus certain people, like we have a lot of good friendships with our friends because we don't share stuff with them. We're not tied to them, but when you're tied to somebody in a way, like that's when things get kind of crazy.
Well, not true. Because you got to remember, like our relationship, bro. We have arguments, like big arguments, like maybe like once a month. That's pretty good. We've been together for a while. I feel like that's healthy. It's healthy to argue. It is very healthy to argue in relationships, just not all the time. And if the arguments have no resolution to them, those are two things that makes a relationship unhealthy. Is if you're arguing all the time and they have no resolution to them. But if you argue every once in a while, sometimes I'm gonna piss you off. Sometimes you're gonna piss me off. That's normal.
That is normal.
So if you have a healthy relationship, regardless if it's one person, two people, 3 people, 4 people, as long as y'all not arguing all the time and y'all have a resolution to the arguments and they're over real scenarios and real situations, that's completely healthy. I'm not afraid of that. What I'm afraid of is it being toxic. I don't want nobody, because me and you don't have a toxic relationship, and I think we pride ourselves on that. So I don't want somebody else coming in here like,
don't have a toxic relationship?
No, I don't think so. I think sometimes we get in arguments. But
I don't think it's toxic either.
yeah. Do you?
I said I don't think it's toxic either.
You sure? You confident about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you better say that shit. No.
Toxic.
Toxic. Get him out of here. But like, no, like on some real stuff, like I feel like my thing is like, I'm not gonna let somebody in this like if you coming into this relationship, you gotta make sure you get some, like if you got traumas, everybody got traumas. I ain't gonna judge you for them, but this is not gonna be a place for you to take those traumas out on. Because I choose every day to not take my traumas out.
And I feel like that's why, like, if we were to start, like, because we are dating women, but for us to get to the point where, for us to bring someone in, I feel like it would probably be a period of time where it's like, it wouldn't be like fast, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, I'm curious to see, like, how soon people make decisions of, like, let's, like, make this, like, locked in, like, okay, are you still going to keep your own place? Are you moving in with us? Like,
yeah,
like just trying to like make those decisions. I'm curious to see like how soon and if people feel like they would wait. Because like even with us, when we started talking, we moved in actually pretty quick, I think. And I always say like I kind of wish I would have waited to move in. But I feel like the way the economy is going.
It's gonna be in other words, it's gonna be a lot of women trying to move in with us.
Because then we're gonna split the bills
right.
anyways.
It's gonna be a lot of women like, hey, so y'all taking girlfriend applications? Like, nah, bro.
Yeah, we taking applications.
But to be honest with you, I can't even say that that's the end all be all. You got to take that extra income and invest it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because when you think about extra income, but then you got more expenses and bills.
What's his Instagram? We'll start with his the guy that I keep referring to. But one thing he said is that because it was 4 of them now, because he has 3 wives. But he was like, we get to it faster. He was like because they're investing together. So they own like businesses. I think they have like a rental business where they rent out boats and jet skis in Florida. They're about to start a hookah lounge. One of the girls, I think she's like a bottle girl or a server or something like that. But what's his name? I feel like you're going to let me pronounce it because you're afraid to mess it up.
I'm not afraid. I just know I am.
His name on Instagram is Mazaya Legend. I'm probably butchering your name, bro. Mazaya.
Maza.
Yeah, we're just going to say Maza, but like, yeah, so my bad if I butcher your name, but I vibe with your content. I feel like y'all are very authentic as far as y'all relationship. So, especially that's a dynamic that we're looking to instill. I probably don't know if I want to have 3 wives, at least at this point in my life, but I see 2. I honestly.
Or 1.5.
1.5. What half are we getting? Like what's going on here? Break this logic down to me.
I don't know.
Sounds like murder. I'm good. That sounds twisted to me. I don't even want to go down that road.
I don't even know what that looks like.
But I have my beautiful wife here, and I feel like honestly, I don't know. I think it's a natural dynamic. Personally, I do.
I think it is. I think it is. I can just put it like that. I think it is.
Yeah. But it has to be healthy, and I want to see y'all have a relationship too. Like it's not, and that like I feel like for me it's a building. Cause think about it, me and you live comfortably right now, and we're not even at our financial peak yet. Like having 3 incomes is like bet. Like we could definitely, cause we're already about to buy some properties. Like we're about to buy some rental vehicles. You know what I'm saying? These are investments. We're getting into crypto stocks, bro. You tripling that incomes, especially if everybody is on the same mission. They got the same idea in mind. That's what I'm about. Like, I have
And see, I
stand.
feel like for me, I think the idea, and I feel like this is probably like with a lot of people. So when you're building a lifestyle or you're thinking of something that's considered out of the norm, because even though having multiple women or being in a relationship with multiple people is considered out of the norm, it's not really.
It's
You know
not
what I
out of
mean?
the norm.
Because
Yeah,
if you
it's
think
out of the
about
norm
like
in the U.S.
yeah, because if you like even with certain people, like if you already have two baby daddies or you already have like two baby moms, like what would happen if you would have just had if you would have had them at the
You
same
know, Kevin
time?
Wesley said that.
You know
Actually,
what I
they
mean?
said it too.
Like
But Kevin Wesley, he has two wives. His family, they talk, but he was like, you know, you already live in polyamorous, right? And they like, well, you might not know it,
so like if you're
but you think about it,
co-parenting,
yeah,
you know what I
you're
mean?
co-parents. He was like, think about it. If you're out dating, he said the person that you have sex with you know that you're not the only person that you're having sex with. You consciously know that. That's polyamory, bro. Like, you are all living a polyamorous lifestyle. The only difference is
You're
that,
just not doing it. I feel like you're
right,
not doing it smart enough because now you're putting all these other
man, being
other
sexually
you're like
promiscuous is risky, bro.
it's
It's risky business. That's why, honestly, like, even with, like, I'll tell you, like, man, I ain't perfect. I know in the beginning of the relationship, you didn't call some phone numbers in my phone when we first started dating. But honestly, I think that's probably why I don't have a side chick, bro, because it's risky. Like, I don't, what if I get her
what
pregnant?
about
Or,
that
like,
saying? What about that saying that you need a side chick? Like a side chick is healthy. Have you heard that?
I've heard that.
What
I
do you
can see
think about
how,
that?
I think it's a cope when you're really just saying that you're not monogamous. Like, you stop lying and saying, especially for men, bro, stop lying and saying you monogamous. That's why all these women are hurt, bro, because we keep lying to them. We telling them we monogamous. But sometimes you just, I hate to say it, but I personally feel like men are not naturally monogamous, and I'll stand on that. Majority of men literally wish they had more than one woman. They are just too afraid to say something about it. And it don't require, I feel like, don't get me wrong, it is a rich man's sport to have multiple women. But I feel like, personally, I do feel like it
But
don't,
then I
but it
mean,
doesn't, if you're building to get, like, hear me out, if you're trying to be in relationships anyway, unless you just want to be out here doing your
but
thing,
also
cool.
it could be a rich person, but then a sport, but then also it doesn't really like have to be either. I think it has to be you have to work on yourself and communicate. Because think about this, like certain people they have like for example in our relationship where we are now, we split everything. Like you're not just like I never got the mindset of like if you make more, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Then yeah, like
if
pick
I
up a
have more
little more
money, it would,
bills
yeah,
and like but for the most part, we make pretty much the same amount of money.
right,
And we split everything 50-50. So for
right.
example, like when we get paid and it's time to pay rent or trying to pay certain bills, I take a portion
Even
out
though
of
I
my
pay for
check.
most of our leisure.
Now that part is different. But I'm saying like if you had another person bringing in income,
Yeah,
say like there's another person and everybody's splitting the income three ways, it goes from splitting it one way or two ways to three ways now.
and
So
not
then that
only,
extra
yeah,
little bit of money that you have to like if you want like okay it's a birthday time or no I'm sorry it's like Christmas and now you have to get an extra gift and more than that, but it's still going to help out when it comes to like kids. I'm
right,
starting to see the beauty in
benefits.
it and the benefits
Yeah,
of it.
and also on top of that, you think about it. I make enough to be able to live on my own.
Yeah.
You make enough to be able to live on your own. We actually make more than enough to be able to live on our own. It might not be the biggest of place. We would definitely have to down. Actually, I think we could both afford this by ourselves. But we're also are
What's going on
living.
here?
Well, shout out to these guys. Living by Cobra. I think it's in my playlist. Um, But no, but yeah, I'll just blur that part out because I honestly we not trying to get demonetized. But no. So with that being said, though, like I think also so back to the previous point, and then we'll touch on that. So one thing I feel like is that if you're gonna be with a woman, but yeah, you see us for men that I'm not talking about for men that want to be like hoes or whatever. If you want to live your best life, just be
Be
honest,
single.
or
Be
just be
honest.
honest. Just tell them, like, yo, like you my primary like girl that I actually vibe with. Like we haven't built to be coming in a serious like relationship. Like you know what I'm saying. But tell her what it is up front, bro. That way at least you give her a choice to if
Yeah,
she
and
want to
and
rock with you on that
that does
level.
go for men and women. Me personally, I don't even for women. Like if you feel like you want multiple men, I don't know how a woman can handle it. But if you are that type of person, I just feel like people in general just need to learn to be comfortable. Like
Yeah.
for me, I feel like the part where I feel like women having multiple men wouldn't work is because women get periods. Because we get periods, I don't understand how that's gonna work. So you telling me now you got 2 men that's going without sex for 3 to 7 days?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, to me, that just, it's like, and then like when I'm cramping, I want to be left alone. And I can already understand, like, even with me and you, like, we don't have sex on my period. And,
Right.
like, one, I don't want to have sex. And two, like, it's just not, I just feel like that's a time where it's like, I like to like detox, like I'm cleansing my body. So that's how I use that as a cleansing time for me. So that's the period of time where it's like we just don't
I'm gonna
we
be honest.
don't have sex. We're intimate in
Yeah,
other ways, but we
yeah,
just don't physically have sex. We use that time to
yeah.
try other things or to just,
And
like,
I ain't judging nobody out here, but
but if y'all have sex in a period, that's
I've heard it
fine.
come out of women's mouths that you wondering why your pH and stuff is all messed up because you know what I'm saying, like you got all these partners and stuff. Like, oh, I think it was I forgot what woman said it. It was a woman though. I know she said it. She said it on the internet. So I'm pretty sure if you Google those words, the video gonna pop up. But she was pretty much saying like it's a reason why women's bodies are built the way it is, and that's why women are also picky. That's why women have been so picky over the age of millennia
And
of
even
the
look
type
at
of
this.
man they like. Guys are never been that picky because with women, I feel like guys, I feel like guys, our job is to reproduce as much as we can, and I feel like women
Even think
they
about,
pick the quality of
but
reproduction.
think about this though. This is the part where I feel like, and this is just my perspective. I'm not trying to say it's right or wrong. People can do what they want. You know what I mean? You create, my whole podcast is about creating the lifestyle you want. For me, the reason why I've been understanding that, I think like I can see why I've been understanding the lifestyle of the two women and a man, because a lot of stuff that goes on in households and just the way you move throughout your life, I feel like having 2 women could probably be a little more beneficial than having a man, because the men, y'all have y'all roles of what you do, and women kind of have their roles. Not necessarily what they do, but just what they're better at. And I feel like to run a household, having like 2 women, I can see it could be better when it comes to like kids. Even the possibility of like when it comes to getting someone pregnant, you can get 2 women pregnant, but 2 men can't get
You pregnant?
me
It's
pregnant.
gonna put you a
One of
little.
them is going to get him. I'm not going to have a baby.
I mean,
I'm
they
not going to
could
have 2 baby
actually.
daddies.
They could. It's happened before.
It's rare though.
Yeah, it could. And again,
it's really
I know the
rare.
internet. They'll correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, but from what I've heard, I have heard of a woman that has had twins, and the DNA was different because she was having sex with multiple guys and she ended up having twins. But one of them was one.
Father and one was the
Yeah,
other. But I feel
yeah.
like that's really rare.
It's extremely
It's
rare.
really
Yeah,
rare.
it's like
So
the
the point I'm
minority.
making is
But
that it's like,
bro,
that's why you have to go to the playlist.
I did. That's the thing. There we go.
It's gonna be fun watching it and editing, because there might be some things I have to cut now.
No, you just put a blur in it.
But I don't know how to do that.
I know how to do it. I got you.
My editing skills.
I got you.
But no, what I was saying is like I don't know. I just feel like, and that's why I want to talk to people. Like a woman that's with 2 men, I would love to have that conversation. Like if they're in an open relationship where like he messes with other women and she's able to mess with other men, then I get it. But to be in a committed relationship with 2 men and 1 woman,
As
that
a
seems
guy,
like a
I'm just
lot.
asking. As a guy, I'm
I
just
have
like,
questions.
what
I wanna
value do
know.
you get out of that? And what? Again, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I think that for 2 men to be comfortable with that, I feel like they're not that masculine of a man. I feel like their woman is more dominant than I typically, from what I've seen.
Unless but they could also like each other. Like,
Bro,
I feel like bisexual.
could you imagine 2 of me? Bro, it like, could you really though? Like, bro, I'm a lot.
I don't want to.
My energy is a lot.
I don't want to.
Yeah, like even if it was a
You
different.
want 2 of me?
Yeah, I would take 2 of you in a heartbeat, for sure.
Why?
Cause like you add value to my life. Like you have a purpose in my life, and your feminine energy that you bring to me, I love it. Like I could just eat it up, like literally. Like just give me all the feminine energy. I love that shit. But like you know what I'm saying. But no, like legit, like you add value to my life. You're my peace. You know what I'm saying? Like you and you try your best. That's the thing. Like I don't expect you to be perfect. but you're my peace, and you give me purpose. Because then I have a reason to want to protect and make sure, like, I have something to protect. I have something to provide for. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you're going through stuff, I feel like our relationship a lot reminds me kind of like a Beyonce and Jay-Z, where like I'm like the I'm like the you're like the rose petals and like the beauty of it. You know what I mean? Like, you have the petals, you look beautiful, and like, you know. And I feel like I'm like the thorns in the stem. I'm the support. You know what I mean? Even mentally, you know. So like I'm more inclined to make those hard decisions. Like, you know, especially like with like dealing with some of the things with like your family that you're like, man, I don't want to do this. I'm like, no, you need to do that, because at the end of the day, you've been, you know what I'm saying? Like, you've been like, no, I get it's hard. I know you don't want to make that decision, but you're going to have to make that decision, bro. And it's like, you got it. This is a decision you need to make. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like men have a very important purpose that is rare to find. I feel like the world's kind of changing now, but I feel like women add value in a different type of way.
Yeah,
So yeah, would I take
it's
two of you? I'll
different.
take like three for.
That sounds like a lot. I don't know if you're ready for 3. I don't know if you're ready for 2.
I'm not ready for 3. I'm ready for 2 though. I am ready for 2. I can see myself with 2. I don't think
Well,
I'm
we're
ready.
gonna try it out. So when the podcast is about creating a lifestyle we want. And to be honest, I'm at the point where I'm at in life. To be honest with you, I want to really just have fun. I really want to enjoy my life. Like, I want to wake up and be grateful and blessed and thankful that I woke up today. And I literally want to create and move how I want to. So, like, for example, like, if it's something where, you know, we're because it is fun dating women. Like, long term, I haven't found a woman that I want to date long term. But if she is out there, you know what I mean? I'm actually open to the idea of doing that now. And in the worst case scenario, if it just doesn't work, it just doesn't work. And I think that's when you have that mindset with business or anything, like, I'm gonna put my all into making things work. Like, I'm not gonna give up. You know what I mean? So even if the person's not the person that I'm like, oh, I did not expect it to go this way, I'm still gonna put the energy and the time in to make it work. But if there is something that just is not working, we don't have to force it.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
legit don't have to force it. And then therefore, if we get to the point where even with me and you, like, if it gets to the point where me and you are just not seeing eye to eye, we're not growing together, or say we are just no longer just we want to be friends, but we don't want to be partners.
Yeah.
Giving that person the space to really just do that. Like, I think everyone should.
Yo, you nigga gonna be mad though.
Everyone should.
'Cause I'm still gonna be hitting that.
You're gonna live with us. You're gonna be downstairs.
Cap. You're done. You're done. I'll be slapping a nigga around too. Like, hey, bro, go make some breakfast, man.
But see, how does that even sound?
You said you was gonna make some breakfast the last time, man. I don't care about all that, bro. Go make some breakfast, like all that.
I just am just curious. I really want to just interview some people that.
I'm gonna be honest. I think personally, I think
I'm like, that sounds crazy.
I'm not saying based off of like from my own perspective. I ain't judging nobody, because even if that's what you rock with, I'm not judging. I would love to have somebody. I would love to have somebody on the podcast and thoroughly ask them questions out of curiosity.
Relationship. Like, I'm starting to see the idea of it, but then I might be like.
But for me, I'm not curious enough to be like, I'm trying to like I ain't bi-curious in that aspect, in that regard. But I am curious to know, how does that work for you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like.
So if you are in a polygamous relationship and you listen to this, or if you know someone.
Or polyandrous,
polyamory. There's so many.
This is going to be a very dynamic podcast, because we're literally going to be touching on like entrepreneurship, business, just day-to-day life, navigating emotions, like, you know what I'm saying, ventures that we're going on.
Not forcing it. And then I want to kind of close it with this. We're talking about forcing it. You're a really great driver, right? And I feel like there's you related to your cousin about it when he was like, just don't force it. You know what I mean? So can you kind of explain that a little bit?
Yep.
What you mean by that?
Yeah. So like, I ride motorcycles and I like cars. So like, I had just got a motorcycle, and I was young too. I was real young. I was like, what, like 20 maybe?
20.
Yeah. So you already know, like, everybody like, bro, this dude's about to kill himself on his bike, bro. Right. So like my older cousin, he's like more like a brother to me, but like my cousin Chris, he had a motorcycle, whatever. So he was like, yeah, I'm gonna give you some advice. He was like, he's like, I know you about to get your bike or whatever. He's like, I'm gonna just tell you one thing, just always keep this in the back of your mind. He said, when you're riding out there, just don't force it. He was like, so if you like making a little cut and you trying to get up somewhere real quick, he was like, if you got to force it for you to be able to make it happen, don't do it. And I literally live by that logic when it comes to driving and riding. And you see
even
it.
just
You see it. Even
dating and
sometimes.
everything. Like if it's
Yeah.
just something that just don't fit, don't
Yeah.
force it.
Even sometimes, and you'll see it, right? And I'm gonna flip the script and change the logic. We've even seen it where like we're on the freeway and we're going through traffic, or I'm sorry, not we're on a racetrack and we're going through traffic with another car, and the car is even faster than me. It'd be like a Hellcat. I got an EcoBoost Mustang. It's quick, but like it ain't a Hellcat. But like I'll be racing in the car. I've been in the car with Ferraris and all of that, and you see how they driving. Well, people with like Ferraris, they really don't be pushing it, but you see a guy with a Hellcat, and he doing all of this trying to fight. Then he gets blocked in. Now he gotta wait. Then he gotta go on the shoulder to get around. But then he gotta wait. And the whole time, don't get me wrong. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I am speeding, but we chilling to the point she'll be on her phone. And the whole time I'm just, if I need to wait a little bit, wait for traffic to go by, so this car, but I see my lane already open, I see my hole where I'm gonna go, I'll be chilling, I'll be cruising, and the whole time, and I'm just cruising. You know what I'm saying? Or he might pass me but the way he's driving, he get blocked in again, so I end up catching up, passing him. Like, and that's because when I drive, I always know my lane. Like if it ain't a clear route that I can take, or I ain't got an exit route, I ain't gonna take it. If I have to force this gap, and it's been times where I have made the mistake and forced it. Like the one time where I got off the freeway, it was like the GPS told me it was like right when it was time to get off the edge, telling me to get off, and it was like super traffic, and I called myself like, man, I'm about to hurry and get over. Didn't even know it was grass. Went over the grass median and everything. Went airborne. Luckily, I didn't break none. It was very, very, just drive safe. Don't break the law. Don't break the law out there, guys.
Don't do that.
Yeah, no, honestly, I don't want you guys hurting yourself. No, but like,
that's the point of not forcing it.
But yeah, so how applying that to life, for example, even with this whole like us dating women, I've learned for me not to force it. Even when I first brought it up to you, as far as like, you know, I wanted to be honest with you. I didn't lie to you, and this was like years and years ago when you found like, you know, you would find like me texting girls and stuff, and I think one time I really hurt you, and it's like, but in my mind, as you were talking to me, you were like crying and stuff. I had this moment, and I was like, man, if one of my female like friends, like not like a platonic friend, a real platonic friend, or like one of my female cousins came to me crying about their dude having girls, and they, you know, her heart's broken, I would be mad at the guy. I would be ready to hurt this guy probably if I care about you enough, right? So I was like, why am I doing that to my best friend? And so I was like, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know, I'm gonna be 100% with you. And you've always told me, you was like, yo, I might not like it, but just be honest with me.
Yeah, because when you're being honest with somebody, I rather you be honest with me, because I rather look at you like, okay, this person's honest versus this person lying. Because then now you're gonna be looked at as a liar, and then now there's trust. There's just so many things. So with me, like, I'm a very easygoing person. I'm very open-minded, and also like I really try to understand where you're coming from, and I feel like you do really well with me. So there are a lot of times where you won't do certain things out of respect for me, or I won't do certain things out of respect for you. I feel like we just work really well, and some, like, even with the whole bringing a woman, I think what's actually making it easier for me to understand why I would be open to it is just because I'm understanding what benefit I may get from it as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's not always just about you and what benefit you may feel. Like, I thoroughly feel like I'm looking at it like, okay, I can see the benefits, and I think for people, if you want to have a conversation with your spouse or just anyone, your friends, I think you have to really sit down, kind of detach from your emotions if you're able to do so, or try to do so, and then at that point actually listen to where it's coming from. But I think you're a great person, and I think that I don't know. I think so far, like, you've showed your loyalty to me, and I feel like I showed my loyalty to you, and I think that's what helps us being able to have conversations like this that are technically uncomfortable, Because the idea at first of bringing someone in there, there's so many negative things I started talking about. So like for me now, I try not to even really engage in the conversation as much. More so, I rather engage in like the actual lifestyle, because I won't know how I feel until I'm thoroughly in it.
Right.
And then once I'm in it, I also have another chance to sit down with myself and then with you or us and say if I want to continue. And at that point, everybody has an option to say, do they want to continue in our relationship? Just because we're married, if there's ever a time where we're just like, this relationship is not doing any justice for me, we have that time to be able to do that. And I feel like people, like, because you want to love somebody so much, you feel like you have to love them forever. And I can still love you and have love for you, but I don't have to love you forever. And you don't have to love me forever.
And honestly,
we don't have to love her forever. And she don't have to love us forever.
Right. And I made, what I'm building, you're going to have to love me forever. What I'm building,
but I don't have to.
You're going to have to love me forever.
I don't have to.
Bro, you couldn't even picture a world where you didn't love me. Stop playing.
But I don't have to.
I'm messing with you. But no, legit. I do feel what you're saying, like, and that's what it was with, like, why I was honest with you in the beginning. Well, not in the beginning, but like when I decided to be honest with you. I was like, well, not in the beginning when I really.
But if you would have been honest in the beginning, like, you know what I mean, like, just be honest, because the last thing you want to be is a liar. You want to be a cheater. You don't want to be that.
That goes against your honor.
But I think why some people aren't so honest at first is because if they're, for example, like if you want to have sex with a person, you're not going to tell them everything up front. And I think that's where people have to figure out what they really want.
That's why, like, the lady we was talking about at the bar, she was talking about, her baby daddy or whatever, and it was just like, and again, I'm not judging her at all, but like I asked challenging questions. I don't mind asking a challenging question. So I told her, I was like, I don't mean to be in your business, because she's talking openly to me, and I was like, I have a question. It's like, y'all like. I was like, so why aren't y'all together? And she was like, because he just couldn't be monogamous.
That's what she said?
Yeah. I was like, but y'all still talk though, right? She was like, yeah, we messing around sometimes.
So what's the difference?
That's what I was like, so you couldn't, I was like, so I have a question. I was like, now let's say like.
But I understand her logic for that, because sometimes it's.
But she's bisexual. I asked her, I said, but are you bisexual? She was like, yeah. She was like, I'm not really, like, I wouldn't be in a relationship with a woman, but like,
But she might be in a relationship with a woman and a man.
No, she'll mess with a woman. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, so what if, like, I asked her, I was like, so would you be, like, let's say if he was honest with you, would you be with him, like, in another woman? Like, and she was like, no, I wouldn't. I'm like, but you are with him in another woman right now.
I know, and I think that's the part where I think, I don't know if I can explain it in word form, but I do understand where she's at, because to be honest, where she's at is where I'm slowly getting out of, because that used to be the hardest part for me is, I would say things like you can do that, but then we can't be together. But then, like, say if me and you decide to like mess around later, what is keeping me from not doing it with you versus doing it separate? And I think that's just an emotional thing that I think it's outside of sex. It's the seeing you build chemistry, because you love me a lot. Me seeing you love me, because I know you're not going to love us the same, but you're going to have love for us at the same at some point. You're going to want to die for her and care for her and show her as much emotion as you show for me. And I think that's the part that's really hard for people, because even though I know you love women before me, I don't want to witness you loving another woman. Sex is different. Sex is just sex. But when it comes to actually like getting the emotional attachment where you thoroughly like want to refer to another woman as your wife, like you thoroughly just love her, that was hard for me at first.
I feel you. But also what I always tell myself, I don't know, I'm not telling myself. Well, actually, yeah, what I've told myself is that, because to be honest with you, it's the same thing for me as well. Like people think, like, guys, like I told you, I say, yeah, like, you and another woman have made me jealous before. Like, you know what I'm saying? It is this girl we've talked to, and I'm like, dang, like, y'all seem like y'all got this fire chemistry, like, y'all, you know what I'm saying? It's easy. So, like, yeah, what I've told myself is that, well, think about it. If I love this person, I will want them, we're all together, I want y'all to build that. I want y'all to fall in love with each other. Like, you know what I'm saying? I want y'all to build that chemistry with each other. Because then that's what's going to make it work. If, you know what I'm saying? Like, just like I love you, and she wants to, even if she comes into our relationship, she's going to want us to love each other. She's going to want to see that we really, truly love each other and that we can iron out our problems. You know what I'm saying? She again, if she don't, she gotta go. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, That's what I like, so that was I had that conversation with myself. Like, how would I feel if I come home and like y'all just like getting it in?
Or we just
Like,
like,
am I gonna let it rub me the wrong way, or am I gonna be like, am I gonna just let y'all do y'all thing, or am I be like, shit, I'm in there, like, what's up, like, you know what I mean? So
and
it's
vice versa. Like those are things
yeah,
that like you
exactly.
just think
Yeah,
about because. Those are things I try not to think too much about because then I kind of get in my feelings. It's like I don't want none of that. Let me just not do it. You know
yeah,
what I mean? So I feel like for some people that's called overthinking, and I feel like you shouldn't try to overthink or assume what you think is going to happen because you might be in a relationship and never deal with any of the things that you thought you were going to have to deal
right,
with.
right,
And that's why with me, like sometimes I don't like to really even talk about it too much. Like I'm cool now. I'm getting to the point where I'm able to talk about it. But before I didn't even want to talk about it because I mentally can't even imagine it because I didn't go through it. But for me to go through it and then us to talk as we're going through it and only talk about situations that we're facing at that time. So there's certain people where they're like they'll start asking questions like how do you handle jealousy or how do you handle like, like them going on trips without you? But it's like why are they going on trips without me? Like, you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, why can't we
And if it
be?
came
Why can't
down
we be
to a
to the point where
time,
it's like,
yeah,
what if we worked and did all our stuff together, but then when it actually came to like trips and stuff,
yeah,
like
we all
we
like,
do it
yeah.
together. You
Why
know what I
can't
mean?
we?
Like, why can't we? So
Yeah,
why do
and
I
on
have to automatically think of the negative stuff that's happening? So I've been trying not
especially
to.
right, especially with us building businesses together. Like, why can't like
That's what I'm
we,
saying.
especially if we're business owners, bro, we could set up
And that's the whole
a
point of us.
weekend to go out or a week to go somewhere
That's the whole
and
point
hear
of
me
us
out.
creating the lifestyle that we want. Like
Yeah,
we're creating. Me and you do everything together. So the
right.
way I'm looking at it, if me and you do mostly almost everything together, we have our times where we'll go do certain things. But like that's why we're building businesses together because we thoroughly like our time. And the last thing I want is to be away from the person I enjoy. So if I can sit here and have a business work partner and we do certain things, I can still have that. But why can't you be my business work partner? Why can't she come? And there might be a person that she comes in and this is the missing role that we need for our business or something that could make things easier. So because we're building together, like we shoot weddings together, right? She could be the person she could be another person that comes in that we may need an actual another photographer, or we may need someone to be like the director or whatever the case may be. Now we're building things together.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that, honestly, yeah.
So for a
And
girl to
you
come in a relationship, she would have to. I feel like it's not like going through an interview process, but then that's why like a girl who's like maybe she would just have to fit in our field. You know
yeah.
what I mean? In a way, she could still do her own thing, but if her own thing fits with us, then I think our relationship would fit.
Right.
So it's like say
Yeah.
she's a hairstylist or something. Like, all right, bet I could really use a hairstylist at home.
For sure.
She likes to cook. Bet I could really use a chef at home. You know what I mean? Like just certain things that could make things easier on everybody.
Yeah. And I definitely understand that. Um and I also think like, cause you was like, well, how do you handle jealousy? The same thing we handled, the same way we handled
Right.
jealousy before. Like, we talk it out. We talk it out. If it's sometimes jealousy is based off of our own insecurities, and sometimes jealousy is based off of something that's really happening. You have to have that question: is it really worth bringing up, or is it something that like, I'll get over that?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? That's why like I think it was what's the name that said like relationships. I'm not compromising for a relationship, and it's like, bro, the person being with you is compromising.
I feel
Everybody's
like
compromising.
sacrifice and compromise. If you're in a relationship,
Yeah,
you have to make sacrifice and
and
compromise because you're your own individual. I'm my own
right.
individual, and for me to just try to be honest, I think that's why my dad's relationship didn't work out because he wasn't willing to compromise. And when you're not willing to compromise, the other person is there's going to come a time where y'all just going to keep going like this or y'all going to go like this because no one's trying to meet in the middle. If y'all
Yeah,
not meeting in the
I don't
middle,
know. I don't know. I don't
you
know enough
know.
details about that relationship. That ain't my business. I ain't about to talk on that one. But no, I do feel you on that. I think compromising is important, and also knowing where like to set your boundaries. Like, you know what I'm saying. You got boundaries. I got boundaries. So it's like, ain't nothing wrong with that. That's what that is. So like we being taught that we can have our cake and eat it too. Like, bro, you're not about to sit like I don't know. That's why like I've had people hate on our relationship. Like, you know what I'm saying, just because of like, you know what I'm saying,
Who's
like
hating on our relationship?
I don't know. There's haters out there.
Who's not hating on
I don't
our
even know who.
relationship?
I know you right. Ain't nobody hating. Everybody love us. But but I will say though, I've had people talk about our relationship as if they don't understand the compromises that we've made.
Oh yeah, because they feel like I compromise. I think a lot is what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Like I remember some of those conversations.
It's like,
yeah.
bro, what do you mean
And
she compromising a lot?
I feel
Anything
like
that
you see me compromising at that time because maybe that's a time I have to compromise. But
y'all don't
maybe
see
the
me
time that you have
compromising.
to compromise
Yeah.
is not a time that we're
That you get to see.
that's
Right.
a time. You know what I
Like,
mean? But I would say with you, like there's a lot of times where like you might not agree with something, but then you give yourself time to think about it. I give you time to think about it, and then you come to me. And I end up getting what I want out of it, or you get what you want out of it.
yeah.
And I think that's just important in anything that you're dealing with.
And also that's why it's important to actually like find a healthy man, a man that's healthy mentally, because 9 times out
What
of
can we do
10.
to help our men though?
Um,
How do we help? Because some men like when we go in environments, you can just see that they just weren't taught or they're not in that environment. We came from pretty shitty environments, so because we did,
Facts.
and like I feel like if you look at us, because one girl, Christina, remember her? She
Gemma?
was like, yeah, you remember she was like, she said that about me. She was like, because you openly talk about your hardships and the traumas and that you've dealt with. I don't always openly talk about it unless it's a conversation where I want to talk about it. You know what I mean? I'm just that type of person.
It also depends on who I'm talking
With
to.
her,
But yeah, I feel you.
With her, she made that comment that I forget how she said it, but she was pretty much saying that I don't think you've been through anything or something that she said. Does that make, do you know what I'm talking about? Do you remember the conversation? Because she had it with you.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that way about you because you don't wear your emotions on your sleeve. You actually, that's why I said I feel like you've healed. Your legs are nice and soft, but I feel like you've like healed from That's why I told you you healed from your traumas better than I did. Because if I met you, I would never know that you have the past that you have with your family, your upbringing. Like if I met you, I would have never guessed that. And like even when you've told like when you were talking to my cousin Monique about y'all related on that and the crazy part is I never knew that about Monique. I didn't know that about until then. I knew Monique went through some stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't get to know Monique until I moved here. But like it was actually honestly it was a beautiful moment for me to watch because you were going through it, and with her being older than you, she's been going through it longer. She was able to understand. Like sometimes like when you go through your stuff, I think I understand now because I've seen it, I've dealt with it firsthand, but like she understood it already. So for you to tell somebody that you didn't even know that about her, I think she was actually it's crazy. She was actually telling us about what she had going on, and it was exactly what you were that we just went through with you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So like I think that was probably like it made you feel comfortable to be like, yeah, man, I'm actually dealing with this too. Like I'm dealing with the same exact thing. It's like, bro, like so it's like, and maybe one day we'll be comfortable to share that on the podcast. I don't think I'm comfortable to share that type. It's up to you on your own stuff we want to share, but for me, like I'm like I talk about certain stuff, but I don't really get into too deep detail.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily get into. I am going to share that story. I really want to either us go up to Columbus or if she can't make because they said they couldn't make it. My friend.
Oh, okay.
But I really want to have that conversation.
Why they couldn't make it? You
can be there. She just said they weren't going to be able to make it.
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't really ask. I just said next time. But what?
That's your favorite line. Next time.
But because I mean, what else are you gonna say? Like.
Yeah.
Nothing else I can say. But I want to have that conversation with her. I don't know if it doesn't necessarily have to be a one-on-one. Yeah. But you can still be there and part of it as well. But I want to have that because we both dealt with that, and I'm just curious to see how I feel like that's a good way to see how the income happened because our parents both went there to get help, and mine apparently didn't get the help she needed. Yeah.
You asked me. You said what to do. What can we do to help our men? Like,
what can we do to help our men? Like, how do you start? Because you didn't have a father.
Man, honestly, I would. Yeah, like honestly,
you didn't have the guidance.
I would honestly. I think I'm gonna go on a mission to find like leaders, like male leaders, and like they have a lot of mentorship programs. Like I don't feel like I'm at a place to mentor somebody because I'm still learning a lot about life. But there's a lot of men that like from what they talk about in their teachings.
You think some men might even just need conversations though?
True.
Like, yeah.
I don't.
Like,
yeah.
we
I
don't
feel
even have
that.
to do a segment here where like if it's a
like guys can call in.
Guys can call in. Women can call in. Like if you want to be anonymous, you can do that. If it's just something where you just thoroughly want to just talk about something that you're currently dealing with. Like
we'll start doing that on our lives, maybe.
Maybe having that space to do that because some people like there's certain conversations that I know you have had with men that they just don't have those conversations, so they never looked at it like that.
Yeah.
And if you don't have those conversations to somebody to spike that nerve for you to actually start thinking different, you're going to
That's why
continue to move
that's
how
when that
how
girl
you
told
are.
me, she was like, yeah, I want my boyfriend to meet you. I feel like you would teach him a lot. And it's like, it really made me uncomfortable. Cause I'm like, y'all trying to set me up? Or like, you know what I mean? But then like, you know, and also, you know, me and you date women. So like we were feeling her at the table, and then for her to just be like, yeah, I can't wait for my dude to meet y'all. I'm like, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? So but cool. Cause you know, we ain't just trying to smash everybody. You know what I mean? But
We're
like,
not perfect. You know what I mean? I think with us, one thing that I feel like the reason, because I don't want people to think we're giving advice. We're not giving advice.
we're just telling you what we would do in
We're
a
telling you what
situation.
we would do. We're just giving you our perspective because our
Yeah.
perspective can be different from other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I can only give you a perspective of how I handle something of trauma that I dealt with or business that I dealt with, like a situation with business or a situation with an argument. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, how to handle
how to
a
handle
pinch,
certain
and
things.
also having an outside perspective sometimes is actually better.
Yeah, because then
Like
now you
you
can
not,
weigh it out.
yeah.
Weigh your
Don't let the internet get it twisted, bro. Having another person sometimes check you on your values and challenge your
accountability
values.
partner.
Yeah, not even always an accountability partner, but just somebody to always. Not I'm not gonna say like check you, but like have an opposing opinion sometimes. Because if you always by yourself, the internet, that show Black Mirror was like, it's the terminology Black Mirror. This thing is gonna show you everything that you search. So everybody's right now. The reason why everybody's fighting and so divided is because the algorithm is showing us what we want to see. So if I'm a dude that just got my heart broken and how not to be a limp, you know what I'm saying? Like
limp?
you can't say certain words online. It triggers people, but. A simp, like, you know what I'm saying, how not to be a
Yeah, you
simp.
say it anyway.
Yeah, man, come on, man. Like, yeah, like, you know what I'm saying,
I
how
was like,
not
this
to
a
be a
new
simp.
term? I
What's
never
gonna
heard of
happen is
this.
you're gonna get podcasts about the negative tendencies of women and looking out for that. But if you a feminist and you know what I'm saying, you into that type of content, you're gonna get all of that content on your social media, your Facebook, all of that. It's gonna show you that. If you into sports, it's gonna show you that. So you gotta be understanding that having an opposing opinion is very healthy. We're not all supposed to agree with each other. We're not all supposed to be the same.
Right.
That is a recipe for delusion. If you got everybody in your circle and y'all all like, you know what I'm saying, like nobody has a difference in opinion, that's probably not a circle you need to be in. Or maybe you should just have a difference in opinion. But like, everybody's not meant to be the same. So I think with men, I just think they need a place to go to have these conversations
That's where they're gonna go.
where they
Y'all gonna
can
start coming
feel.
on our
A lot of
podcast.
guys, I think I'm not gonna say I don't think everybody. So I also think like get
Men
therapy.
Mondays.
Yeah, I think we should get.
Women Wednesdays.
I think men and women should get therapy. I don't think that they should get therapy to find guidance, but sometimes you need to be able to say those dark things.
Out loud.
We all have dark thoughts sometimes, and we need to have a place to be able to maybe express that and not be judged for it, and also help somebody bring you back to reality.
Because we are all secretly dealing with
Hurt,
stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I
and
just
pain and
realized
stuff. Yeah.
like there's so many people that may look like they're fine, but they're not. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I feel like I know I'm one of the people, like I will not tell somebody what I have going on. Like
Right.
I will literally put on a facade
Yeah.
or
Not
technically
even a
fake
facade.
it.
I just don't.
You know what I mean?
I
Like
don't air my baggage.
I don't.
Like
So
me and her be going through the most, bro. We ain't perfect. We got
but
struggles, bro. We got real life struggles, and it's like,
but we just dare to be different, and we dare to get it right. Like we
Yeah.
just really dare to get it right.
yeah. And I think also one thing that I've learned is like me showing up to the table being positive, even though I'm going through stuff. That's my job. Like you too as a human, we're supposed to be. I didn't make this up, but it just came to me. I don't know where I heard this at, but like we are supposed to be filters of negative energy. Like you have to be a filter of negative energy. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got money problems, you got health problems and stress and stuff. And then like, you know, or you relationship problems or traumas and stuff. It's your job to be a filter of that negative energy. And that way you can emit positive energy.
Just poop it out.
Yeah, poop it out. You know what I'm saying? But like, and also get out of negative situations. If it's a negative situation, get away from it. But like, you know, it is your job to like if I have a hard day, it's my job to still be nice to her, not take it out to her. Take it out on her. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's my job. And sometimes I ain't perfect. We get mad at each other sometimes. Sometimes I might raise my voice or say something that was ignorant, and I had to go back and apologize. I'm a man about that. I'll stand on that. I've apologized a few times, like, yo, look, I'm sorry about that. Like, I shouldn't have said that. Or like, even if I said things the wrong way, like, look, I really meant how I felt, but I didn't have to come to you the way that I did. I could have talked to you different. And I think helping men understand their emotions and learning how to channel that, even that aggression, is normal. It's a normal thing for a man to have aggressive tendencies, bro. It's how you channel it is what's gonna make it important. Like, I don't want to hear that men all. If a man wants to be soft, he can be soft. He can be a soft, more soft-spoken type of man, and nothing wrong with that. I'm not judging you for that. But we just like how we gonna love them and boast them up and be like, yo, it's okay if you want to be sweet and, you know, softer or whatever. You know, you're more of an emotional guy. Like, you know, you're not as masculine. That's fine. We're gonna love you regardless. But also, we still gonna advocate for the guys that are more masculine, that like to like be like, you know what I'm saying, have more of a aggressive tendency. I have a more of an aggressive tendency, but I have to learn how to channel that. Because if I don't learn how to channel that, I'm gonna end up snapping. I'm gonna end up hurting somebody. That energy, that aggressive energy is there for a reason. That aggressive energy is not there to be wasted, bro. You gotta channel that into investing, learning, channel that into working out. Like, bro, I'm telling you, I've been feeling the best that I've ever felt in my life. Like, I go in the gym, I punch the bag, like, especially when I get angry, I'm having a bad day. Man, you know how good it feels to just hit hard as I can. Like, man, I'll go to the range sometime, or times where my aggression, I need to relax and calm myself. I'll go hiking, go to a park, you know, take a deep breath, meditate. Sometimes you gotta have a level head, but your body and your brain is gonna experience all. Sometimes you're gonna feel soft and emotional. Sometimes I just be wanting to cry, bro. Like, I think what 21 Savage said, like, man, sometimes I just go home and I just cry. Like,
You said that?
he said it just like that. He said, I just cry.
Yeah,
Like,
because
and
I feel like
people
sometimes
thought it was
you
funny,
have to get
but
that emotion out, and it's like,
and
I
I
feel
felt
like
them on that.
men and women,
Yeah,
like we all are actually emotional beings, and we have to learn how to get that emotion out.
right.
No matter how it looks, you have to get it out, and hopefully you're not the type of person where you're taking it out on people. But if you can get to the point where you get it out, maybe you won't. Because like there's this thing where when I used to actually go to therapy for a while. I think my mom had put me in therapy because I didn't talk about how I felt, or I didn't talk about my emotions. And there's this thing where it's like you sit there and you let things just bottle and inside you to the point where you just lash out, or you explode at some point because you're not expressing yourself and letting things
Yeah.
naturally just come out as they should.
Yep.
So everyone's going to deal with some type of aggression, but you have to thoroughly figure out what's a good release for you, and make sure you do something every day that's actually making you feel happy, so you're able to get that out.
You're not.
Because
Yeah. Yeah.
there's gonna be ups and there's gonna be downs, and it's like you have to make sure that when there's
Yeah.
when there's ups is great, but when there's downs, like you still gotta like figure
You
out
still
what
gotta.
makes you
Yeah. You
happy
still
and
gotta.
still learn to
Yeah.
enjoy life, because life is beautiful. You know what I mean? You should keep your life. You know, like you and
Yeah,
thoroughly
man.
just try to just do something that makes you happy. Like you
Yeah.
create the lifestyle you want. So if you are not happy where you are right now, it's
Man. Yeah.
because you're not
You're
creating the
not.
lifestyle you want.
Yeah. You're not searching for that happiness,
So
and you gotta be careful with the substances too, man. Because I know sometimes I've had to tell myself, like, bruh, you gotta calm down on the alcohol.
it's
You
okay
gotta.
to detox. Like
Yeah. Like sometimes.
there's
Yeah. You
times
gotta.
we'll detox from like alcohol. We can detox from sex. We can detox from certain food. Like it's okay
Especially
to
as a
do
man, it's
that.
actually good sometimes to just withhold that energy. Like, that energy is meant for creation. I learned that, and I've learned that especially, like, man, that's why I've cut back from the masturbation. Cause like, bruh, I'm such a stronger individual. Like, at my eye contact, I'm more confident. Like, I have more of a to me, like, I just be like, some, like, especially when I got on that gym kick. It happened when we moved to Atlanta. Like, it's something about, I was just like, man, and it's a lot of big niggas out here, bruh. So I was like, yo, I need to get my weight up. I'm like, yo, I ain't about to be out with my girl, and then some nigga
Likewise.
press me, and then I ain't able to handle mine. I'm like, man, I gotta get to the gym. I gotta start training, because there's some
Right.
big niggas out here, bro. So I'm like, you know what I'm saying? But just in general, like, I just want to be able to carry my own weight, and also I want to be physically in shape. And as soon as I started working out, bro, I'm telling you, it got to the point where I just started feeling so much better about myself. Like, and then you combine that with not masturbating, bro, man, you're gonna be a whole new animal. You're like, actually, my friend Muhammad, he told me that. He was like, man, look, bro. He asked me one day randomly. He was like, you know, cause he trains, so like he does UFC training and stuff like that. So you know what I'm saying, he's very much into shape. But he asked me one day, cause I was talking about like, you know, where do I start getting in shape? First thing he asked me, he was like, man, do you jack your dick? And like it's two niggas in the car. You know what I'm saying? I know.
What was this? I don't remember this.
It was me and him. We hung out one day. Moon.
Oh.
Yeah.
You never told me this story.
Me and him. Yeah, I met up with him one time. Like I went to his apartment and we went out to like a bar. We got some food.
I remember you going.
Yeah, he was like,
you
bro.
never told me the
He was like, bro, you gotta try the salad. Like, man, we got this big old salad. It was like we got 2 separate salads, of course, but like it was this big salad and it had like boiled eggs in it. Like, nah, we ain't not even on them type of games. But you know what I'm saying? Like the salad was amazing. It had avocado, had a whole bunch of chicken.
You know what?
A
salad
really
sounds really good right now.
Yeah, honestly, I'll make the salad that we got from that spot. It was an amazing salad. But back to what I was getting. The first thing he asked me, he was like, "You jack your dick?" I was like, I mean, yeah, like you know, sometimes, like you know, like I was comfortable. You know, it wasn't like he was like, "Stop doing that shit, bro." I'm like, for real? He's like, bro, stop doing that shit. He was like, 1, your girl gonna love you for it, and 2, he said, you gonna get in shape so fast, like it's because that energy is there for a reason. He was like, you think about it. Not even even my coworker, we were talking about it. He was talking about why he don't masturbate. Like, and he was just like, you know what I'm saying? He was like, I stopped masturbating because he was like, you think about it, man, that's your source. That's your life source. He was like, 1 tablespoon of like semen is equivalent to like a pint of blood. That's why you get so tired after you get done, because you releasing that energy. So he was like, man, you got to withhold that. And ever since I have started like doing that, I've been finding myself, I've had a lot more of aggression. Not aggression as in I want to hurt somebody, but aggression as in I'm more, when I get to it, I'm getting to it.
Yeah, like you
it ain't like I'm lit. Like even though today I feel like shit, I will say today I was a little bit on the
You said today?
lethargic side. Today,
I mean,
we had some drinking, we were up late, but no, like, you know, I know we're about to wrap it up, and we'll go more into these topics and other podcasts. I know we talked about a lot, but the show must go on, so we're just trying to release information to you guys, and hopefully you got some value out of something we talked about. We'll get more into like things like, you know.
But something that's coming on right now, like, so if you see our shirts, they're actually.
You like my shirt, guys?
So
that boy fresh.
This is one of our apparels for a music video that's coming out. Mm-hmm. So we'll start giving you more information on that. If you want to, well, we'll just give you more information on that. But this is something that's coming out. So and we'll actually go in on behind the message for this, but to be honest, this kind of talks about what
we'll talk about it more later.
You have to get uncomfortable to get comfortable, and that's what it says, and that's how we have to live our life.
You got to learn, invest, and profit.
If we want to create the lifestyle we want, you have to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. So I am gonna
gotta get uncomfortable to get comfortable. Like, yeah, hey.
Until next time,
go be great.